a change in the state law,
That's correct.
which means that now I just want to reiterate, public participation is available on all items, while the consent agenda, obviously it's been approved without any changes to it. When we have the non-agenda items section, you can also participate, please, on consent agenda items as well. So that'll be added to our regular discussions now. So number 7 will always be public participation of non-agenda items and consent agenda items. All right. So if anyone is new and doesn't know the drill, blue cards are in the back if you want to speak on anything that isn't on the main agenda being public hearings, unfinished business, new business, etc. This is where you speak. You fill out a card, everyone has 2 minutes to speak, and when 2 minutes is up, you hear a buzzer, and I'm sorry, but that's it. So we've got Chip Guthrie, followed by Loretta Sharp. What was on the top? Sorry.
So soon, so back. Chip Guthrie, 823 South Palm Way, president of South Palm Park Neighborhood Association. Recent development in our neighborhood I thought I would like to share with you, just so that everybody knows what's going on. And I did kind of get with our commissioner a little bit about it, but the end result turned out to be positive. We had a situation where in our neighborhood, one of our longtime residents died a couple of years ago. Her house has been kind of sitting there. It's still in her name according to Papa records. And I guess the bank is in various modes of taking it back or whatever. Several neighbors started noticing that there was some activity there that didn't appear to be correct, and somebody was sort of moving in. And so they reported it to me, and so several of the other neighbors got together and started making inquiries around. We called the sheriff's office, we called code enforcement, we got good response from everybody, but the answers that we got were all over the board. And what I'd like to, just to make sure that you all understand, is that one of the things that we do at our utility department is going to be very helpful if this situation happens. Because it takes it from a civil infraction or a civil thing where somebody has to be evicted to a fraud, which is a criminal activity. And if somebody's committing fraud, the sheriff's department can go in there and get these people out of these houses. And the situation happens to be at our utility department where they require a signed lease. And I know that one of my tenants came to me one time, and I didn't have a signed lease with them, and they said they won't turn on my electric until you show a signed lease. I had to go sign a lease with them and then show that. That may have been the thing, and I'm not sure exactly how this is all going to come out, and maybe we can find out. But it was very important to find out when I brought it up to the sheriff's detective that if you go over there, if there's a signed lease on it, the lady's been dead for 2 years. So if they have a signed lease in their hands, somebody's committed fraud, and you can do this. Well, the first deputies that showed up were not able to get that information, did not have that information. The second set did. The second set of deputies, when they started asking about where's your lease, where's your signed lease, guess what? The guy decided to pack up all the stuff and say, well, I guess we're not interested in this place after all. We're not going to, they had the power shut off immediately, and they had the water shut off immediately. And so, like I said, it was a good thing for the neighborhood, and if any other neighborhood association out there runs into this, somebody squatting in a house, because all they have to do is establish residency. And there's a form that these people understand that if you establish residency, now they have to evict you. A lot of us might remember what happened down in Boca Raton with those guys that were partying and causing all kinds of havoc in the neighborhood. But establishing residency, take it to a fraud level as opposed to a civil infraction. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Loretta Sharp, followed by Mary Lindsay.
Loretta Sharp, 1311 South Palm Way. Well, I've stood up here for 25 years and taught, so I'm going to talk about 25 years ago. When I first came to Lake Worth, there were 3 businesses in Lake Worth. There was a woman's shop, there was Johnson's men's shop, and there was Rosie's. And everything else was boarded up or was a thrift shop. So I think we have made some progress over the last 25 years. It's nice to drive downtown, it's nice to see all the things that's going on. And I don't want you all to get big heads, especially the lawyer. But I do want you to know, I really think that Lake Worth is turning around. I see it on the streets, I hear it from people's enthusiasm, And I think it's turning around because of you commissioners who are facing the big problems, the infrastructure problems, the soup problems that you're settling, the utilities problems. I really think it is because of you commissioners that things are looking better, and we better stop stabbing ourselves in the stomach and get together as a neighborhood, as Chip said, and as South Palm Park said. We all live in this city, we all like the city. I never want to see the city become unincorporated and become part of the county, or go to West Palm Beach or Lantana. I want it to be incorporated like water. And I think if we get together and we work hard, we can do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Lindsay, followed by Peter Tim.
Mary Lindsay, 327 Columbia Drive. I'm here tonight as the chair of the Neighborhood Association President's Council. That is the NAPC, even though I am wearing my
South Palm.
South Palm Park t-shirt to congratulate that fabulous neighborhood association on 50 years. They have to be one of the longest running neighborhood associations in all of Palm Beach County, and we at the NAPC are very, very proud of them. And there's not a chance in hell that they're going to get the Gunge Cup next year. First thing I want to say on behalf of the NAPC is thank you to Lieutenant David Moss, who took over for Captain Silva while he was at Quantico. Lieutenant Moss has been unbelievably responsive, receptive, and I know because we bother him all the time with our issues, and he's just been fabulous. So thank you, Lieutenant Moss, very, very much for your leadership during Captain Silva's absence. And welcome back, Captain Silva. We're very glad to have you back. And just in time, too, because on Tuesday, October 8th, is the PBSO-sponsored Night Out Against Crime. It's going to be held on Cultural Plaza starting at 5:30. That's next Tuesday, October the 8th. The NAPC will have our big front porch there for that evening, and there are all kinds of events, entertainment, information regarding security systems, burglar alarms, locks, just all kinds of information so residents can help protect our property. There'll be free hamburgers, hot dogs, a bounce house for the kids. So it's a wonderful event. It's been very popular in the last few years, and the NAPC is proud to be a part of it again. So that's Tuesday, October 8th at 5:30 at the Cultural Plaza, Night Out Against Crime. We want to thank the DCA for the invitation to participate in Evening on the Avenues. The NAPC will have our front porch out there this weekend as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Peter Tim, followed by Caleb Kaufman.
Peter Tim, North O Street. Yes, I had the pleasure last Wednesday of having a meeting with our city manager and one of his staff members, and the topic of the conversation was ad valorem taxes. For years and years and years and years, I have been saying that the east side of Dixie Highway supports the west side of Dixie Highway, but I've never had any proof that that was a true statement. So this year, I took the time and effort to put together all of the properties from A Street all the way over to Gulfview, from A Street and also downtown Lake Lucerne and Lake Worth Road. And it's a 288-page document. And we discussed it as to how we can raise, because it did show that the properties on the west side are not paying anywhere near what the properties on the east side are paying. And really, I chose those streets because they are all micro-minded of all the streets. They are all the same. 7th Avenue goes straight through, 13th goes straight through. So it was an ideal group of streets to do this with. And and it's coming up on the next meeting, I will be showing you exactly what I did and why I did it. So we will be very busy. Unfortunately, the city manager has different ideas than I do, so he will be pursuing it his way. I'm going to be pursuing it my way, which is standing here in front of you and bringing you up to date. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tim. Caleb Kaufman, followed by Peggy Fisher.
Hello, my name is Caleb Kaufman. I'm a citizen of Lake Worth, and I love this city. I'd like to make a small presentation about my personal vision, and I'm just going to use my voice so I can address everyone. Is that okay?
Yeah, actually, you need to address me, that's sort of like the,
Okay.
yeah, just pretend you're talking right at me.
Alright, so this is my vision for Lake Worth. I envision community, and I want to ask, what is community? That's a word that we throw around a lot that I'd like to delve into. Community has aspects of communication, cooperation, compassion, and any number of other co-words. I think it's multifaceted. And one of the most important prerequisites for community is connection. If we don't feel connected to each other in the city, we won't have relationships, which is something that I strive to create in my own life and in my own neighborhood, in my own street. So I discovered something called LETS, which stands for Local Exchange Trading System. It's a bartering system that was created in the early 90s by a gentleman from Australia that's been implemented in various places around the world, Europe. Asheville, North Carolina has an established LETS, and it's a personal goal of mine to bring LETS to Lake Worth. So LETS, unlike normal economic systems, is based off of abundance. It's a hybridized bartering and non-fiat system, almost done, using points where value is created in transactions, where people are seeing each other's strengths and talents and requesting supports. They're not called transactions, they're called LETS favors. So I'm here tonight to open this conversation, to make everyone here aware that I am committed to making Lake Worth one of the most awesome cities in the United States to live in.
Thank you.
And I call that enrollment.
Well, we're gonna have future conversations, I know that we are, so I just wanna make sure that we're okay with time. I gave you a little extra time because I know this is your
Thank
first
you.
time
It
publicly
is.
speaking.
I'm privileged to be here tonight.
Usually I pull the hook out by this point, you know, yank you off the stage, but I resisted the urge today.
Thank you. I live at 521 South L Street.
Thank you very much, I
Thank you.
appreciate it, and I look forward to an appointment with you, Chip. Peggy Fisher?
Peggy Fisher, 508 North A Street. I'm coming about A Street. First, South A Street between 6th Avenue South and 12th Avenue South has two non-permanent speed bumps on them. The rubberized ones, which are both in very bad repair. And this is a bus route. And they've been this way for quite a while. And I think it's very important that we put some priority in getting that part of the roadway where we don't put any of our school children in danger as the buses go across these speed bumps. Related to potholes, one thing that might help on North A Street would be better enforcement of the no trucks on North A Street from the roundabout to 10th Avenue. This morning, about 8 o'clock, a car carrier loaded with 7 cars came northbound on North A Street. Those roads certainly aren't being made to hold that type of traffic, and I think that contributes to the wear on our roadways. So I think that would be very helpful, and it would be helpful if some attention could be paid to the stoplight with the county at North A Street and 10th Avenue coming northbound. It backs up for about 2 blocks every morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner comments? Vice Mayor?
Just, Mr. Guthrie, Chip, and Mike, if you don't mind. You know, it's curious to me that I clearly understand the policy of leases being required in order to establish utility service. And my question to you is, I know doggone well that a lot of folks don't have leases, so how are they getting around that provision? If they're, I mean, if they're a homeowner, I guess they could bring in their documentation if they own the home, but what are we doing for the folks who don't have leases?
I honestly don't know how the power got turned on in this situation, or how long it was on, or if it was on and they squatted while the account was still open, or how that transpired. I'll have to look into that one. I don't think it's a pretty.
Because there's a lot of folks that are, you know, paying weekly, you know, cash to the man, you know how that works. How are they established utility service? That's the question.
Okay.
Anything, Commissioner Boyd?
Just for Peggy Fisher, I have, thank you for the heads up on A Street northbound at 10th Avenue. I've mentioned that, the city manager and I have talked about it before, but it's good to, reminders are helpful. And thank you, Caleb, for coming and telling us about the Let's barter system, and good luck with it. I know that the city that I lived in the past, Ithaca, New York, has had Ithaca hours for at least a decade, probably closer to 2 or 3 now.
Commissioner Amoroso?
I too wanted to comment on something Peggy said about the trucks. That has come up a couple different times, and I personally would like to know, how would you police the trucks coming in? You know, it's one thing to have a sign, but who actually polices it? And how is that done? Because, you know, we've brought it up a couple different ways, like around Publix, you know, trucks coming in certain ways, going out certain ways. That's a lot of the problems we have on J Street and K Street, because those heavy trucks are there. We addressed it way back when I was president of Mango Groves Neighborhood Association, to find out what we could do after the fact, you know, if we got to that point. But, you know, I'd like to be able to have clarity on actually how, I mean, it's one thing to put a sign up, no trucks, but who polices that and how is that done?
Well, there's a couple of different circumstances there, and obviously the proper legal signage has to be posted appropriately. In the case of Publix, you know, some well-placed conversations with the manager staff there to get back to their suppliers on how the route is into the store. You can also place certain traffic calming types of devices around to make it where the truck driver goes, I really don't want to go in there. And then if there's that repeated effort around certain times of the day, then the sheriff would enforce any kinds of vehicular types of infractions. On A Street, the same thing there, you know, the traffic circle and getting around. You know, I cringe at a car carrier going down A Street, especially over the speed bumps, as she said.
Or with all the children there, and as we move forward with the 2020, I think that needs to be
And then
addressed.
sometimes the car carriers, and I don't know if they were delivering or picking up cars there. That's another thing, you see them sometimes in neighborhoods, but that's not appropriate either. So it's tough. You know, we want to limit semi-trucks going into neighborhoods. People move in and out of houses and have boats, and there's the same turn radius. So you gotta be careful how you design. But first, I think making sure that it's properly, legally, to traffic standards, noticed that it's a no truck area. And then we can enforce it from there.
Really low arches.
You will be amazed at how they can move those things.
Really?
They hit all the banners.
Do they really?
The banners are always getting knocked by trucks, yeah. It's not good.
Commissioner Zerdy?
Thank you. I also wanted to thank Lieutenant Moss, because we've had pretty good attendance, and I know that I've been to a few of the different neighborhood association meetings the last couple months, and I think the Call Y'all effort has made a difference, where we get reports all the time of those things that occur, and it's really working out there when people are calling in, when you think that something's happening. When we listen to the reports that are in the beginning of the neighborhood associations, they've definitely been a little bit different the last couple of months, and things have been very effective, some more proactive, and the more that word gets out there that people are watching and calling in, the better off it's going to be. So, because I heard that because we were there last night at Pineapple Beach Neighborhood Association, which I think is doing really good for a beginning in my district. So that was really good. Good attendance there, and that was an important part of their meeting as well. So I thought that was very helpful. And I look forward, Mr. Tim, to your information about that division between what percentages. I don't know how you're have that broken down. I think we're also looking into the ranges between 50, 100,000, 150, they might be broken down a little bit more, because as we had a pie chart up here a couple of weeks ago that was showing what percentage of our city, I think from value of $200,000 or less, was 90-something% of the city was in that range. So it's a tremendous amount, so we'll look to see the distribution of those, because that would make a difference, how those things are gonna be spread out, because everybody needs to participate. And so I think, and I said this last night at the Pineapple Beach meeting, that our neighborhood associations are making up a lot of the slack around here. A lot of volunteer work, and I'm really proud to see that. And 50 years as being a neighborhood association, you don't look that old, Chip, but, you know, it's, I think that that's really terrific, and I think that there's a number of them that really are very, very active, and South Palm Park is really active. It's hard to even keep up with you all. You have so much going on, so thank you very much.
Well, that's the thing about going last. Everyone's already covered all my topics that I want to talk about. But thank you, I appreciate it. I won't talk for talk's sake. Caleb, my husband's addicted to that Burger King's thing, so I'm looking forward to the conversation. All right, let's see, approval of the minutes, I'll entertain a motion.